Sustaining growth and development in food and agriculture requires understanding the long-term challenges to identify what actions will maximize social, economic, and environmental benefits. To tackle the food challenge, Cranfield University has developed a four-step Foresight process to help organizations develop a vision and the pathways that map out a desirable future of food. Foresight is a process for systematically gathering and processing information to anticipate and shape what the future might look like. Policymakers, industry, academics, consumers, and others gather to debate current and future trends at a local and international level in order to identify the most critical threats and significant opportunities. Horizon scanning is a foresight tool to detect future developments through a systematic examination of drivers of change and their potential threats and opportunities for an organization or sector. Desk-based research is undertaken to identify what issues or drivers are influencing developments in the food industry. Stakeholders gather to then debate and prioritize the issues that are driving significant change in the agri-food industry. Key drivers are discussed to assess their trends and impacts on the industry over the short, medium, and long term. Creating a vision for the future requires considering how to address the drivers, trends, and impacts from earlier horizon scanning. Stakeholders gather to agree a set of common goals that establish the ambition for the industry. These goals are then used to develop a vision, the best scenario of what the industry would look like, mission, what changes are needed, and strategy, how to create the necessary changes. The road mapping process sets out what strategic actions are needed to achieve the vision. Stakeholders gather to debate what actions are needed to achieve the vision, such as new technologies, research and development, and knowledge networks. Then they consider the timeline for these actions and the sequence in which these actions need to occur. Think about any possible barriers or enablers that may influence the ability to achieve these actions. And then they examine the resources, for example, staff, and funding, and evidence, for instance, market analysis, that is needed to support the delivery of actions. This is the final critical stage of foresight. It involves examining and validating the structure, outputs, and impact of the roadmap in order to gain its support for its implementation. How are the identified drivers, trends, and their impacts likely to affect the roadmap? What indicators can you use to monitor these drivers or trends? Also, think about what strategies or actions in the roadmap are the most vulnerable to change. Decide how you will review these strategies or actions and adjust them as appropriate. Run a stakeholder workshop with experts and policymakers to validate the roadmap. This concludes the systematic foresight process for building a desired vision that shapes the future of food.